in the strength of material, there is two important words. One is called as the stress. One is called as the stress. Now, stress, we all know that stress is equal to force per unit area, right? That is what called as the stress. But if you want, this is the only a mathematical representation of the stress. But actually stress, suppose we have one cylinder, right? And that cylinder is subjected to some tensile force, right, on the both the side. Then suppose the force is suppose P. Now see, when we apply the force within the elastic limit of this body, it means that what is the elastic limit? Elastic limit is the limit where your body, if your body is subjected to external force, when you applied the external force, it undergoes some deformation, right? It undergoes some deformation. It means that when we applied the force, what happened? There will be the increase in the length of this body, right? So it means there is a change in the length, right? Change in the length of this whole body, right? And that is what called as the deformation. It means there is increase in the length as well as there is a decrease in the diameter, right, when we apply the tensile force. It means this is what called as the change in the depth, change in the diameter and change in the length, right? That is what called as the deformation. So according to the strength of material, the stress is defined as when any body is subjected to external force, within elastic limit, then there will be a resistance of the force produced within the body, right? So if we just cut this cross section and we take the cross section of this body, if I just take the cross section, then what happens? The each and every molecule will try to resist that P force, right? This P force, right? And this is what is called as the resistance, right? R. So when you applied the force over any body within the elastic limit, then whatever the force applied, same will be the reaction, right? Same will be the reaction. So it means that if we applied the load within the elastic limit, suppose we applied load P, right? So there will be a change in the length, that is delta L, suppose. But when we remove this force, then delta L will be the 0. It means if you applied the load within the elastic limit and if you remove that load, then the size and shape of the block will be the original, right? It will come to its original state, right? And that is what called as the elastic limit. So when we apply external force on any body, there will be a reaction, right? There will be a reaction. And so when we just remove that force, your body will come to its original state, right? Come to its original state. And that is what called as the elastic loading. So it means that when you applied the external force, your body undergoes some deformation and body will try to resist that external force by resistance, right? R. And if the load is applied within the elastic limit, then the resistance per unit area, right? Resistance per unit area, that will be called as the stress, right? So actual definition of the stress is it is actually a resistance per unit area, but we applied the load within the elastic limit. What is elastic limit? Elastic limit means whatever the force you apply, same will be the reaction, right? So actually R is equal to P, and that is why stress is equal, we write down the P upon A. It means applied force per unit area. But actually it is a resistance of body per unit area is called as the stress. Is it clear? Stress is clear. Another one that is called as the strain, right? That is called as the strain. Now what is strain? So suppose I take one body, suppose I hang one body, right, on the ceiling, right? I hang one rod on the ceiling and then I apply the force, that is suppose P, right? So I applied the force P. Now due to this P force, what happened? There will be a increase. There will be a increase in the length of the rod. That is suppose delta, right? That is suppose the delta. Now see, you have understood in the previous semester work done, right? So what is work done? So work done is nothing. It is the average force into the distance, or we called it the deformation, right? We called it the deformation. So see, initially at this rod, P is equal to 0, and gradually we increase the force, P is equal to P, right? Force is equal to 0 initially. Then we slightly increase the force and we reach to the final force is equal to P. So actually the average force applied on this particular delta, that is equal to 0 plus P by 2. It means 1/2 P, right? That is our average force. And that is a force, and actual deformation. Suppose this point move from here to here. Suppose this is your AB, rod AB. So your B point move to the B dash due to this average loading, and the travel distance is delta. So here deformation is equal to delta. So indirectly this is 1/2 P into delta, right? P into delta. Now this is what is called as the strain energy, right? Strain energy. Now why this work done is called as the strain energy? Because when we apply the force, it B changed to the B dash. Once you remove this P, what happened? B will going back to the B. It means self work done, right? Self work done. It means that who will do that work? That work is done through the energy which is stored in this rod, right? Due to strain energy stored into this rod, and that energy that will work when you remove the external force. So indirectly whatever the work done, same will be the strain, because B moved to the B dash. Once you remove this force, this B dash will come back to the B, because it come back to its original state, right? And when you remove that force, who will going to work? The energy which is stored in the elongation, that will complete the remaining work done, that is B dash to B. It means whatever the work done over this body is always equal to the energy stored, right, into the body. So indirectly whatever work done over here, that is nothing, it is strain energy stored in the body, right? Now in the there is one law of the Hooke, right? I think Hooke's law, right, that you have understood into the engineering mechanics. So what is the Hooke's law? According to Hooke's law, when you applied the load within the elastic limit, the stress is directly proportional to strain, right? Now suppose stress, we write down it as a sigma, right? Sigma. So sigma is directly proportional to epsilon, that is a strain. So sigma is equal to some constant than to epsilon, right? So indirectly we take here that sigma is equal to modulus of elasticity into the strain. Now what is the stress? As you know, force upon the area. So here we applied force, that is a P. So here stress is equal to P by cross sectional area of this rod is suppose capital A, right? So P upon A is equal to modulus of elasticity as it is. Now suppose the change in the length, that is delta, right? Here change in the length is suppose the delta, that is a change. So delta divided by L, that is change in the length upon the actual length. So actual length of this rod is suppose L, capital L, right? Capital L. So P by A into E delta upon L, right? So it means that your E is equal to P into L divided by, sorry, delta. Here delta is equal to P into L upon A into E, right? So that is your delta. So strain energy mostly demarcated as the U, right? We demark the strain energy is equal to U. So I will put the value, that is 1/2 P. What is the delta here in the equation number 2? So equation number 2, delta is equal to P into capital L upon A E, right? So that is equal to P square L upon 2 AE, right? 2 AEU, right? So this is what is the equation number 3. That is the actual work done or the energy, strain energy stored when you have the rod having A cross sectional area, length is equal to capital L, and it is subjected to final load of P and the modulus of elasticity is E. Then how much energy will be stored in the rod? That is U is equal to P square L upon 2 AE, and this energy will work when you remove this force. When we remove this force, the this B dash point, the expanded length of the beam, column, this rod, that will be the original. So B dash will be moved to the B by using this energy stored in the body, right? So this is what called as the strain energy. Now see, here, suppose we want to have the equation, right, of strain energy. So let me just take a rod. If I have one rod and that rod is subjected to the loading of P. So let me just take some cross section. I want to generalize equation. Let me take the cross section of the particular body, right? And we take that particular length of this body, suppose delta X, right? Actual length is capital L, right? That is the total length of this body. But out of that length, I am just considering the length of delta X. And the area of that particular segment is suppose AX, right? Is suppose the AX. Then the differential equation, if you prepare the differential equation, that is change in the or the strain energy, that will be the P square into the dx divided by 2 times AX into E. Right? That is similar to the U is equal to P square L upon 2 AE, right? But here we have considered the only segment of this total length dx, and the area, there is only a segment of the area at the cross section X. So if we do, see here your L is equal to 0 and here the length is equal to L is equal to L. So you have the limit from 0 to L. So if you do the integration from 0 to L, you will get the total U, right? So total U will be the integration from 0 to L P square into dx divided by 2 into AX into E, right? So this is what is called as the generalized equation of strain energy. So this is your fourth equation. This is the generalized equation for the strain energy. Now this is what is called as the strain energy due to the loading. See, here we applied the load. Now suppose we have any body, suppose I have one body, and over that body, if I apply directly, I apply the moment, right? Directly I applied the moment, that is M. Suppose I applied the moment M. It means you hold some rod in your hand and try to bend it, right, with your both hand, right? That is what called as the bending. Now if you have such type of the bending, then there will be a strain energy, right? There will be a strain energy. This is the energy stored due to the axial loading. So this equation is for the axial load. When you apply the axial load, then this much load, then this much energy will be stored. Now if you apply the moment, now see, the scenario is changed. If I applied the moment, right, if I applied the moment, I try to bend this rod, right, then there will be a bending. So when I applied this moment, that moment will do the work and it will bend my object. But once I remove that particular moment, my object will come back to its original state. So it means when we apply the moment, there will be a energy stored, right? That will be a energy stored in this bend bar, and that energy will be the du. The equation is du. Sorry, the equation is du is equal to m square into dx upon 2ei, right? That is the equation for the moment, right? So before the solving, this is the final equation for moment, right? When we applied the moment, at that time this much energy will be stored. Now how we will derive this equation, right? We are going to derive this equation. So delta u is equal to, as you know, that average moment, right? Average moment, that will be the 1/2 into m. Initially your moment, see here, initially your force is equal to 0, then your force become p, right? And we have find out that 1/2 p, right? P into the delta. So here similarly the particular object is subjected to moment. So initially moment is 0, finally it reach to the m. So actually the average moment is m, right? So m 1/2 m into the work done, Now see here in the axial loading, we are knowing that there is a change in the length, that is delta, right? There is change in the length in the delta. But when we talk about the moment, right? So I have to just take another page, right, on which I am going to actually du into 1/2 into m into change in the slope, right? Change in the slope. Let me explain in the next page what I mean to say. Now suppose we applied the moment. Suppose we have the simply supported beam, right? If we have the simply supported beam which is subjected to W kilonewton load at the midspan. So due to that loading, so suppose we have one beam, that is AB. Now in the previously we have seen that we found the generalized equation for the energy stored due to axial loading. Now when we have, suppose we take the example of this particular beam AB. Now this AB is subjected to point load at the midspan, right? It means it is subjected to some moment, right? It is subjected to some moment. It means that is the M moment, right? Suppose it is M moment. Now see, when you have such type of the moment, there is a deformation. So if we just remove this force, or if we only consider that, suppose we have the one support, we have the one segment of AB, right? This is not the simply supported beam, right? And if I apply the on the AB rod, if I applied the moment of M, right, on the both the end, then there will be a deformation, right? So if we have the AB rod and which is subjected to M moment, then there will be a deformation. It means indirectly there is the strain energy stored as a deformation, right? As a deformation. So see, if we draw the tangent, to this curved shape, if we draw the tangent here, then this is what called as the I, that is called as the slope. Initially it was the horizontal, but due to this moment there is a deformation, right? And that is what called as the I. Indirectly we can say it a theta, right? That is what, when you apply the moment, then there will be a slope, right? And when you have the force, there will be a deformation, right? That is called as the delta, right? So एक point यहाँ से यहाँ जाता है, right? Move from one to the road that is moved to B dash in previous example. So that is what called as the delta, right? And delta, that is a deformation or the elongation which is subjected to axial loading, right? Here this deformation, that is the slope, that is denoted by the I, right? So that is change in the di, right? So if we have the moment of m, then your differential equation for moment, that is the average moment, that is m is equal to, initially it was 0 and reached to the total m, so 0 plus m by 2, so that is 1/2 m into the deformation. See, here we have taken 1/2 p into delta, right? Delta is a deformation, b to b dash. Here there is only change in the slope, right? There is initially it was the horizontal, but then that beam is having the slope of I, right? So suppose that is delta I, right? Delta I. Now there is one equation which is called the simple bending theory. So according to simple bending theory, delta I, that is change in the slope to the dx, right? Di by dx, that will be the d upon dx. ये आपको इंटीग्रेशन में आ गया पहले भी डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन में, that is dy upon dx, right? So indirectly it was d square y, मैं मैथमेटिक्स में नहीं जाऊंगा, d square y upon dx square, and this d square y upon dx square को बोला जाता है दैट इज मोमेंट अपॉन ई आई. सो बेसिकली एक इक्वेशन है सिंपल बेंडिंग थियरी का जो मैथमेटिशियन ने डिराइव किया हुआ है, दैट इज व्हाट एम अपॉन आई इज इक्वल टू ई अपॉन आर इज इक्वल टू सिग्मा अपॉन वाई, राइट? सिग्मा अपॉन वाई, दिस इज व्हाट द इक्वेशन, राइट? So here m is a moment, I is a moment of inertia, E is a modulus of rigidity, where r is equal to this radius, right? This radius, deformation radius, right? Radius of curvature, this radius of curvature, that is r. Sigma is a stress, and y, that is what the, I think you have find out the b and d, right? In the moment of inertia, if rectangular section, I is equal to b d cube by 12, right? I think b d cube by 12, that is the your I xx, right? That is your I xx, that is moment of inertia. So here this is what is called as the y max, right? That is the depth of neutral axis, or we also call it the y bar, right? So moment of inertia m upon I is equal to E upon R is equal to sigma upon y. So if you just simplify this thing, right, that is the that is 1 upon R, right? So if you put here, you compare these two things, then it will be m upon EI is equal to 1 upon R, right? 1 upon R. So that is nothing, 1 upon R, that is d square y upon dx square, right? Indirectly this is 1 upon R, right? This is the mathematics, geometry, I think you have this type of the theory. So indirectly this is what is m upon EI, right? So d square y upon dx square. So here di, if you look at that change in the di upon dx, indirectly it will be the m upon EI, right? So indirectly your di is equal to m upon EI into the dx. So we put this over here and then we will get 1 upon m into dx upon EI, right? So indirectly your du is equal to m square dx upon 2 EI, right, 2EI. That is almost similar to our previous derivation, right? So this is what is the equation, and if we have that moment for 0 to L, right? If you integrate from L is equal to 0 and L is equal to L, then your u will be integration 0 to L m square dx upon 2EI, right? And this is what is the generalized equation for energy stored due to the moment, right? Due to moment. And by applying that to equation, we are able to find out that how much strain energy will be stored in the particular body, right? In the particular body. So in the next lecture at afternoon, that is 3 o'clock, I will start the Castiglione theorem and the problem solving used based on this strain energy method, right? So we are just going to stop here.